Here in Wisconsin, Governor Scott Walker is locked in what could be the closest governor's race in the country as he seeks a third term in office. He joins me now live to talk about it. Good evening, Governor.
Good evening. Good to be here. Thanks for being in Milwaukee.
Yeah, just a great night here. I forgot my hunting jacket, but thank you for coming here live. I want to get your sense of the race. The latest poll out is from Marquette. It has you up 1 point over Tony Evers. Where do you see this right now?
Oh, it's close as can be. And this is always a competitive race. Remember 2 years ago, everybody said Ron Johnson was down. Everybody said the president couldn't carry the state. We did, but it's always tough, and it's why I literally started on the other end of the state of London, Mississippi, on Alaska and La Crosse today, worked our way all the way across here, and we're going to be crisscrossing the state every day between now and Election Day because it's all about turnout and all about countering the lies out there.
You know, I've covered a couple of your races, including a recall, and what is your closing message this time?
It's simple. It's the difference between do you want more jobs and higher wages, which is where we've taken the state, or do you want more spending and higher taxes? That's where Tony Evers is. My opponent, Tony Evers, wants to raise the gas tax by as much as $1 a gallon. He wants to raise property taxes, income taxes on manufacturers and farmers. Tony's taxes would cost us jobs. What we've done is turn this state around, and more people are working now than ever before.
What about the issue of health care? In the debate on Friday, Tony Evers really hit hard on that issue. Many Democrats around the country are doing that. Take a listen to his comment in the debate.
As a result of his political ambitions, he did not take the Medicaid money that the federal government provided. That's $1.1 billion that was left on the table. He is in federal court to do away with the Affordable Care Act and also to do away with the pre-existing conditions protections. We need to know, the people need to know, why you don't drop that lawsuit.
All right, your response to that?
Yeah, that's just the biggest lie of the campaign. My wife is a type 1 diabetic. My mother is a cancer survivor. My brother has a heart condition. We will always cover people with pre-existing conditions. What he's talking about doing is doing what Minnesota did years ago, and the premiums actually went up. Remember 2 years ago, Mark Dayton, the Democrat governor of Minnesota, said the Affordable Care Act is no longer affordable. That's because premiums are going up between 50 and 67%. We will never do to the state of Wisconsin what they did to Minnesota, and we'll do it by lowering premiums, increasing choices, and improving health care while covering people with pre-existing conditions.
The other thing Tony Evers is hitting on is 4 former cabinet members who've come out against you, I guess. 3 of them signed a letter in which they said, among other things, that Governor Walker has consistently eschewed sound management practices in favor of schemes. They go on to say there's cover-up here and mismanagement and manipulation. 3 of 4 cabinet members saying they're going to endorse Evers. How do you respond to that?
Well, it's simple. I've never been afraid to put people with a diverse set of beliefs in my cabinet. I've had even a Democrat who worked for Joe Lieberman work for me at one point in the past. So I'm not afraid to have people in my cabinet who have different viewpoints, but I keep my promises. I told, for example, one of my cabinet members wanted to raise the gas tax. I told the voters of the state I would never raise their overall tax burden, and I kept that promise. From my standpoint, I tell people, look at the results. More people working than ever before, 8 months in a row of record low unemployment, higher wages, higher wage growth than the rest of the country. And we're not done yet. We've got 4 more years to finish the job off and grow the workforce and then pass the baton to a new generation of leadership.
How much does President Trump play in your race? I know he's come out here, he's endorsed you. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy about what he tweets day to day, and I could read tweet after tweet that raises eyebrows, but how does he play here in Wisconsin?
Well, I think people get it. You don't have to agree with the president on everything to appreciate the good things he's done for the state. Dairy specifically. You know, a year and a half ago, I met with him about the dairy problems that we were having with Canada. That trade agreement, you guys covered it. The trade agreement was held up largely because he wanted to get a good deal for dairy farmers in states like the state of Wisconsin. We appreciate that. We appreciate what he did. We saw Obamacare premiums going up 44%. We passed a health care stability plan, but we needed a waiver from his administration. He helped us on that. I don't have to agree with everything out there to appreciate and be able to work with him, Vice President Mike Pence, and the rest of their cabinet. That's good for the people of Wisconsin.
Other thing Tony Evers is hitting is tuition and school investment. Says he's better positioned at that than you are.
Well, he says it because he comes from an education background, but the reality is my last budget put more actual dollars into education than ever before, and he himself, Tony Evers, called it a pro-kid budget. The irony is he's now out running attack ads attacking me, even though the last budget he said was a pro-kid budget. We actually delivered it. We got more money in the classroom because of not just that budget, but remember our reforms, which he fought years ago, saved school districts more than $3 billion. He wants to lift those reforms. That would take money out of the classroom, and he'd raise property taxes to pay for it.
last thing. What do you say to a Wisconsin voter who says, listen, I voted for this guy, not 2 times, 3 times, and, you know, maybe we should shake this thing up?
Well, if you want to go backwards, I'd say if you want to have higher taxes and fewer jobs, then you should go with Tony Evers. If you want more spending and higher taxes, go with Tony Evers. But if you want to continue to build off our reforms and have more jobs in this state and have higher wages, as we've shown consistently over the last few years, then I'm your candidate.
Governor Walker, we appreciate your time.
Good to be with you.
Thanks a lot.